At this point, let's recap on some of the PHP basics that we've had a look at. First of all, we looked at the PHP code tags that go at the top and the bottom of a PHP script. We looked at one of the most important PHP constructs that you'll ever learn, and that's the comment. Two types of comment, single line / comment and the multi-line block comment. We looked at indentation to make your code look clearer. You can use the indentation buttons on Bluefish, and also on Bluefish you can use the control greater than sign to indent and control less than to unindent. We looked at the echo statement, and we used several echo statements to construct simple text and some more complicated HTML output. For much of this we used snippets to do it quickly. So I hope that I've already demonstrated that these snippets are a very powerful tool to generate code without having to retype it, or even to go and find it in some previous project to cut and paste it. It'll be useful to quickly look now at how to create code snippets. First, you need to create a snippets folder, or branch as it's called in snippet terminology. If you right-click anywhere in the empty space under your snippets and select New Snippet, you'll get a single choice. Enter the name of the branch. Enter My Snippets and forward. And you'll notice that New Snippets folder, My Snippets, or branch as it's called, has been placed in the Snippets folder. If you now right-click on My Snippets and again choose New Snippet, this time you'll get three options in the dialog box. Whether you want to create a branch, in this case a sub-branch to My Snippets, whether you want to insert a string, which is the usual form of snippet, or create a search and replace pattern. We'll deal with search and replace patterns at some time in the future. For the time being, we're only interested in creating an insert string. Click the insert string option and forward. We need to give the snippet a name. Let's call it test. Don't worry about the description and click forward. The before box is what gets rendered to the code pane before the cursor is left waiting for new entry. The after text box is what gets rendered to the code pane after the cursor's position. So if we put in here echo, this is before the cursor, and simply leave it at that, and after the text, space, this is after the cursor, end it with a quote, and don't forget the semicolon, and click forward. Let's create a new PHP file by putting in some simple tags, and from our My Snippets folder, we'll put in our test snippet. Notice that the cursor is sitting between the word cursor and this, just as we'd planned. I can type something in there, and then I will save this file, click Save, as test1.php. Click Save. I go back to my files and folders. I'll see that the file test1 is in the htdocs directory. I now go to the browser and choose my localhost homepage. Remember, that's the homepage we created in a previous lesson, and it automatically defaults to index.php. I type in after localhost /test1.php and press return. I'll get exactly the echo code that I typed in to my PHP code file. This is before the cursor. Remember, I typed in cursor at the cursor. This is after the cursor. A couple of things remain. Going back to our code snippets, we did originally import an XML file to create our PHP training snippets. You can also export your snippets file. Let's assume that you create lots of your own snippets in the My Snippets folder branch. If you right-click on that and click Export, type in test. Don't forget it's a .xml file. Save it in the desktop. There it is. If I open that, it automatically opens in Bluefish as an XML file. If you're familiar with XML, you'll recognize that format. but it doesn't matter. So, we've learned a bit about snippets, we've learned how to create and structure them, and we've also learned how to import and export snippets as XML files. For now, we've got sufficient PHP constructs to go on to looking at some of the database basics.